There is no shortage in the Bible of stories of people bickering and arguing and at war with one another. We read of dispute after dispute in the Scriptures. My father-in-law, Peter, was born in Austria when it was part of the Third Reich. He once said to me, "They are always praying for peace while making war." My father, Paul, who was born in New York, didn't remember his father when his father returned from fighting the Third Reich. My grandfather was a prisoner of war, captured in 1944 in the Battle of Hurtgen Forest, America's longest and most costly battle during the Second World War. The passage this morning from the first letter of John was written in the context of a community in the midst of great conflict. Modern scholars may not be sure of the authorship of this letter, which was probably written about the year 100 AD by a teacher in John's community. But what we can be sure of is that this is a community in crisis. The community is in crisis because its members cannot agree about what happened on the cross at Easter a few weeks back. The community cannot agree about how to understand and appreciate Jesus. Jesus, who was the center of life and unity in the community, has now become an issue of dissension and division. Internal disputes and rivalries have caused John's community to split apart. Some of those members split off and went their separate ways. John's community had built its identity around being joined in a fellowship of love and unity. Now the writer of the first letter of John sees the love and unity has been turned into division, separation, discord, and disharmony. How should a community respond to discord and disharmony? The writer of the first letter of John responds to division and discord by reminding us that we are children of God. See what love the Father has given us that we should be called children of God, and that is what we are. Luke Timothy Johnson, Professor Emeritus of New Testament and Christian Origins at the Candler School of Theology at Emory University, where our rector is about to get her doctoral degree, points out that we would not expect a writing so beautiful or compelling as 1 John to emerge from the hard circumstances of a divided community. According to Johnson, the remarkable thing about 1 John is that it does not consist of a bitter polemic against those who departed or a sustained refutation of their claims. Remarkable. We expect bitterness as a response to division and discord. Instead, we hear a reminder that we should be called children of God. We Christians live in the assurance that we are children of God, and our ultimate human fulfillment rests in that assurance alone. This is a reality understood by faith. As Christians, our fulfillment does not rest in our ability to think or to argue or to persuade or to manipulate the earth and all its various life forms. Our fulfillment rests in the assurance that we are children of God. And we must remember that there is nothing any of us have done or can do to earn that status. That status is a gift, not an entitlement. As Christians, we live out of a faith that is a gift, a faith that does not rest on a system of merits and rewards. Yet all around us, Our century seems to be awash in a system of merits and rewards. We raise children, teach students, and manage workers by dangling goodies in front of each other in much the same way that we train our family pets. The author and lecturer Alfie Kohn has been writing for years against our enticing and motivating each other with money and grades as if we were laboratory animals. Instead of rewarding and punishing each other, the first letter of John tells us that if we want to grow into responsible and caring people, we must remember the message we have heard from the beginning, that we should love one another. God has made love a reality for us. John's community understood that part of the mission of Christ, the incarnate Word, was to enable us to become children of God. We are children of God by gift. In experiencing this gift, we are moved to reciprocate through acts of friendship and justice and charity in a very uncivil world. Being children of God, we are called to live as children of God. The first letter of John gives us the gospel truth that we are not to remain trapped in hatreds, not to remain paralyzed in fears. We are to abide in God, not out of fear, but in order that our friendship with one another may be bolstered. As children of God, we have a dignity that cannot be reversed or overthrown or improved upon. While the first letter of John asserts the promise of our status as children of God, it also reminds us that the future into which we are growing has not yet been revealed fully. The future will bring changes that cannot be predicted. And the fact that all is yet to be resolved does not jeopardize the assurance of our identity as God's children. What we shall be has yet to be revealed, but that by no means overturns the reality that we are children of God now. We live in the knowledge and hope that there is more to come. So we perceive our incompleteness, our own incompleteness, and we recognize that our perception of God is incomplete. But we are told in this beautiful letter that those who have hope in God purify themselves, and the Christ of irreproachable sincerity is our example, the example that we celebrate today at this altar of purity.